Hi, my name is Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the latest cretinous handling of educational matters by another of the government's serial cock-up merchants, Gavin Williamson, whose department announced on Thursday evening a load of sudden changes that have been throwing the plans of teachers and schools and colleges into complete chaos with 1 working day's notice. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, I understand if you work in healthcare, for example, you get this all the time. Teachers, we don't get it all the time, but when we get it, we get it. I'm not saying worse than healthcare professionals, of course not. I'm sure it's not. But as a teacher, I experience this personally, so that's what I want to go through. Like, first of all, we had the train wreck of the exam grades fiasco that could be seen a mile off by anyone paying attention. The government chose to change course, but only after the crash. Then we had the bizarre situation last week where the Education Secretary, Gavin Williamson, wrote letters threatening legal action to a number of schools who plan to switch to remote learning in the week before Christmas, i.e. this week. And they'd taken this action in an effort to counter the rampant escalation of new COVID cases in their area, knowing that it will absolutely explode as a result of the government's plan to relax restrictions over Christmas itself. Curiously, sure this is just a coincidence, these threatening letters were only sent to schools, as far as I can tell, that were in Labour-run councils. Not Conservative ones. They could act appropriately, it seems. They were allowed to do what they thought best. And then we had a right mess at the end of the Christmas term. Yesterday was the last day of the autumn term. The announcement went out Thursday evening. I missed it, but saw it Friday morning. So I was checking my emails for the college where I work part-time and saw all the hoo-ha over a bombshell that the Department for Education had dropped. So bear in mind, we've all done our planning. Our planning this year includes dealing with COVID, dealing with the understanding that situations can change over a few weeks. So our planning has already been much more time consuming this year due to the need to make sure that our lessons can be accessed remotely by those isolating whilst we deliver the lessons physically with students in the classroom as well. And all without the best technological aids to do so. So now we're told that students not sitting an exam this year will have to access remote lessons in the first week back. In other words, the first week back after Christmas, they're not allowed. Schools and colleges are not allowed to let them in, with presumably a few small exceptions. But the ones with exams do come in. And we have 1 working day's notice of this to replan everything to accommodate it. Now, I have mixed feelings on this because, again, it's the incompetence of it. Now, what they're doing it for, as you'll see, is a good thing. It's just that the implementation is moronic. So basically what's happened is kids have finished for Christmas with the instructions of what we're doing after the break. Now, in the case of my college, college has a much easier time of managing this than schools. There's 2 main reasons for that. First of all, they're doing optional, so they're not in all the time. In fact, in our college, we changed the timetable this year. It's very sensible so that you don't have anywhere near the full number of students in on any one day. So that's really good. That straight away limits the number of students on site. In a school, of course, they all need to be in. The other problem with the school is if they have to be at home, then someone has to look after them. You've got childcare issues, college age, not a problem. So my college, what we've done is that the large sessions in the morning are on site, and then the shorter session, which is in the afternoons on some days, is done remotely. And we were going to do that. We've been doing that the last few weeks. We were going to do it in the week we come back as well, and then go into full lessons after that if that's how it was, if it was looking like that was manageable. So no. So students who have been told that they're going to be coming in at this time and not at this time, it's all now changed. But because a lot of those students don't have a lesson on a Friday, most of the students in the college don't have a lesson on the Friday, then we've had to contact them. We can't just tell them in the class. Do you know what I mean? Absolute nonsense. In a school, now the messaging would be easier in theory because the kids are supposed to be there. However, as any teacher will tell you, on the last day of autumn term, the last school day before Christmas, you do get quite a bit of absenteeism. So again, there'll have been a fair number of people who had to be contacted. But then, swings and roundabouts, school children are also less likely to be able to access remote classes as well. And like I said, childcare issues for parents. Now, they are also expecting teachers so they're expecting teachers to completely replan the first few weeks of the next term as well. And I can understand why people won't necessarily appreciate the problem with this without experiencing it. But full-time teachers at this point, I've been part-time this term, so it's not so bad for me. Although I'm doing a lot of extra cover, as some of you will know. But full-time teachers will be absolutely knackered right now. They're at home now, putting their feet up, they're out of it, they're gone. And they've already had, any year that would be the case right now. But this year they've also had to completely rethink the way they do things in order to sort of deal with COVID. And they've worked long hours to be ready for their break and to come back in January with everything in place. Now that time and effort has been thrown out the window by another government edict pronounced at the last minute, because they have no concept of advanced planning. When I tell you what it's actually about, you'll say, well, they could have given us some advance warning. Yes, of course they could. They're such idiots. And it's not for political reasons. It's just stupidity. But anyway, what's this announcement all about? So I thought to myself, I'll tell you what this is about. The government are worried about the number of new COVID cases. They are now as high. In fact, they're now higher than they were when Boris Johnson announced the second lockdown. So they're now at the point. So the last time they were at this point, Boris Johnson gave up and said, right, we need another lockdown. At this point, it's now at that same point, is he now going, oh shit, we need another lockdown? No, he said, we're going to relax restrictions. That's the answer. You what, mate? You what? So the government know that the situation's bad. They know it's going to get worse. They know that their Christmas relaxing of the rules is going to make it explode. Absolutely skyrocket. Absolutely. So then I thought to myself, so are the government trying to mitigate it a bit by keeping most kids off school, which of course is a bit of a breeding ground for this, for a week to try and, dampen it down a little bit? Maybe, but the stated reason, the actual real reason, the main reason is to prepare for mass testing in school. Now, it should be great news. I should be all over this. But actually, my first question when we were talking about this earlier this week at the college, and my first question was, would this be the mass testing with the ones that are only 50% accurate? Because if that's the case, don't bother. I'm happy to test all of my students, every single lesson, not a problem. Don't take any time at all. Don't give me the medical tests. I don't know how to use those. I'll use a coin. Heads, you've got COVID, tails, you haven't. And the beauty of my idea is one coin can be used to test all the students from a distance of 2 meters, and I can use that same coin day after day, and it takes no time to do it. Give me a government contract to do the mass testing. If you only want it to be 50% accurate, no problem at all. I'll supply the 2p pieces and pocket the extra. Maybe I can afford to buy some new houses on the proceeds of COVID, just like those with Tory links that have been getting these lucrative contracts. So I checked, and as far as I can tell, these tests, these lateral flow tests, are the ones that miss 50% of cases. So just let me use my coin. Now I will point out at this point, I know I'm being a bit silly. Even this rubbish test is not actually worthless. It's actually a good thing, because it returns, as far as I'm aware, false negatives, not false positives. If it returned false positives or a significant number, then it would be more worrying. As far as I'm aware, the biggest danger is false negatives. A lot of them, but false negatives. So the idea of this test is you do it frequently on everyone, hence the bringing it into schools to do mass testing there. And it will pick up asymptomatic cases who can then, be directed to go and isolate. Yes, it misses half of the asymptomatic cases, but it's picking up more than none at all. Because remember, these are asymptomatic cases. If they had symptoms, then they should be off anyway, getting a proper test. This one is picking up some, so it helps. Of course it does. It's a good thing to have. So I don't want people to think that I don't appreciate just how useful this is. It will make a significant difference. The issue I have, as always, is the bumbling implementation. A feature of this government is they decide a policy, we need to do this thing, that's great, and they just throw it out. Here, take care of that. And then just for other people to do. with no consideration of what's required. For example, the relaxation of the rules this Christmas. We've had the Prime Minister, as well as other senior government ministers, telling people that they shouldn't take advantage of the relaxed rules. It's like, but you're the ones relaxing the rules. Yeah, but you shouldn't do it. You know, their policy is we shouldn't really mix at Christmas. It'd be quite a bad idea, but their rules say that we can. So the idea is that if anyone does take advantage of these relaxed rules, they will get the blame. The government, when this spike inevitably hits again, it won't be a spike, of course, it'll just be a continuation of this second peak of the second wave. They'll just say, well, people were just stupid. They didn't use their common sense. Do you remember like in summer? When people behaved in the way the government told them to behave? You know, they were even putting out adverts, go and enjoy summer. And then when they did, it's like, well, people shouldn't have done that. That's just silly. It's the same thing. It's always someone else's fault with them. Back to the mass testing. And the delay in bringing kids back to physical lessons was apparently to allow schools to get ready to administer these tests. Okay, sorry, what? What do you mean? Are we not? What? Why would we need a week to do that? So you just send in the tests and people to administer them. That's fine. We'll just find somewhere for it to be done. Oh no! Apparently, schools and colleges have to manage that themselves. They have to manage the actual administering of these tests, right? Okay, all right then. So you're going to give us the money to hire some staff to do this? No. You're just going to do it. That's what they mean. We're just going to do it. The head of the Association of Colleges reportedly said that it would take over 5,000 full-time staff to actually carry out this testing. Now, if this is the Association of Colleges, I'm guessing this just means in colleges, not schools as well. When we're not getting 5,000 full-time staff across the country to do this, we're not getting a penny, it appears, to actually carry out this testing. Frankly, this is ridiculous. I know they won't. I know they're not going to do this. I know what's going to happen is schools and colleges are just going to soldier on, and the problem is they will put this on their staff. Their staff will risk burnout because, I mean, they've already been hit by a pay freeze. You've already got that level of dissatisfaction. Then you've got already overworked staff. In order to be able to add this onto their workload, other things are going to fall by the wayside. They're not going to be done properly. Now think about that. First of all, from the staff members' point of view, they'll feel bad about that. They're professionals. And then, you know, you think how that impacts, you know, if it's a member of pastoral staff, because it can't be teaching staff, we're teaching. So if it's a member of pastoral staff, then that means there might be kids who are having issues and they're not being dealt with promptly. So that will lead them onto a path of failure, which may have been corrected if we didn't overwork them. If it's administrative staff, admin things get left behind. You know, which might mean there's errors in exam entries or something like that, for example. Again, screws over kids. And amongst all this, you are again overloading these members of staff, risking burnout, risking turnover of staff. They leave, they go and get a less stressful job, and we're, you know, that school and college is stuck with having to get someone else in, learn their systems. They'll be, you know, getting up to speed takes a while, and then they get burnt out and they go and. Absolute nonsense. What they really should do, of course, is just stand as one. I mean, what bloody old unions for if they're not just going to say, right, schools and colleges just get together, say to the government, mass testing, brilliant. We're looking forward to mass testing. Soon as you release the funds, we'll hire staff and we'll be straight on it. We'll be rolling it out, no problem. And if the government tries to say, oh no, there's no extra funding. All right, well, we haven't got the staff to do it. I'll tell you what, we'll find somewhere to store the tests, and as soon as you release the funds, then we'll hire the staff, then we'll get going with it. All right, let me know when you're ready. And that's how I would leave it. But they won't. They won't. Which is how this government get away with all this crap all the time. But that's what happened. Those are my thoughts as a teacher. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. Until next time, I'll see you later.